So I haven't been live in 2 days, and I'm like, I gotta go live. And now, like, what's happening is I'm getting backed up. Like, there's so much to talk about, you know? So I kind of picked a topic. There's one thing I really want to talk about, but I feel like I can't tonight for some reason. I feel like it's just. But now that, like, I'm, like, talking about it, I kind of feel like I need to, like, mention it. So I don't know. We'll see how that comes out. Um, hey, Chris. Hey, Inez. Good evening. So, yeah, haven't been live in 2 days. Need to do that shit. Here I am. I'm live. Um, yeah, now that I did the whole 30 days live, I gotta go live. I feel naked if I'm not going live. I don't want to feel naked. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of person. But anyways, um, so I taught IET today. I actually had like a few people ask me this question. It's been coming up. It's been coming up randomly, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Somebody asked me today when I was teaching about like finding your niche in the spiritual community, like in spiritual work, not like in within the spiritual community, like the work that you want to do. Hi, Veronica. And I feel like this can go along with anything, so it doesn't really matter like within, you don't have to be like super spiritual to understand this, but I'm going to use spirituality as an example because like that's what I'm connected to. Um so somebody asked me that question, like they were like, "Oh, so like you, Jess and Danielle all seem to have like found your niche within what you do." So like Danielle teaches all the witchy stuff, Jess teaches the Viking and the rune stuff, and I teach more of like the galactic stuff. Um and we started talking about it, and it's like one of those things where it's like when you finally get to that, it feels really good because it's like an understanding of who you are, but it doesn't happen right away. Like it really took years to get there and figure out what it is that I really wanted to teach and who I like, what I have to offer in this community. It took like years of me dabbling in like different forms of energy work and using a lot of discernment too about what I connect with and what I don't connect with. And the topic of discernment has been coming up a lot as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that because it goes along with finding your niche. Um, I think one of the big things that we actually are learning on our spiritual journey is discernment. And discernment is figuring out what energies align with you and what energies don't align with you. And there's levels of discernment. So there's like, whoa, this is really bad and it's not good for me. There's like that. It's like a form of duality. And then there's discernment where it's like, this doesn't align with me, but it's not good or bad. You know what I mean? And like that is really what you learn a lot, like when you're doing this work, is what aligns with you and what doesn't. And like not judging it. You know what I mean? Hi April, hi Colleen. So yeah, I think that's like a big thing when you're really like on your spiritual path, is really learning like what you connect with and what your soul truly embodies. And through finding your niche is like you need to find the pieces of yourself through that. So when I first started doing this work, okay, let's backtrack. So when I first started awakening, which was at a young age, I was really into aliens and I was really into the paranormal. And then when I started getting into the spiritual aspects of it, I was very I guess I could say like witchy. Like I really liked witchcraft and I really liked angels. And like for times I'd be like, "Oh, I only do angel card readings." And then it turned into, "Okay, now I do tarot and then I do mediumship." And it like constantly shifted and changed. And now I just do psychic readings and I'm learning Akashic records. Um you have to dabble in this to figure out what it is that you want. It's not something, and that's kind of like with everything. You know what I mean? Like you have to really try things and not get stuck in one area, because if you're like kind of stuck in something and your soul is yearning to try something else, then you're not allowing your soul to experience what it needs to experience. So there's like, and at this point in my practice, so it's been over 10 years that I've been doing this work professionally for 5. I can say that I'm very confident in my galactic knowledge and the galactic energy and, teaching people about that. Um, Within that, though, you learn to not, you learn to stay kind of put and be like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And I think that the thing with finding your niche is like focusing on things for a little bit and then realizing when they don't serve you anymore, you need to let them go. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people have, is they don't like to let things go. Another thing that I've seen in the spiritual community is that there's no growth, right? So a lot of people just kind of get stuck on like one thing, but they don't evolve within it. And I think that that's very important when you're doing this work, is you need to constantly evolve in order to find your niche. And a lot of things are going to change along the way, but there will be certain things that you master and certain things that you are known for. So, and for sure, like when you found that like one thing that you're really like confident in and excited in. And I mean, some people find it right away, but I feel like a lot of times, like even with me, Jess, and Danielle, like it took us years to get there. Like I never thought that Jess would be working with the runes and the Viking energy and all of that stuff. And here she is like making runes and teaching rune classes, and it's like a whole new Jess. You know what I mean? Hey Tori, hey Tisha. So yeah, and even Tori's kind of finding her niche too. She's figuring out what it is that she really wants to do in this community. And I think that for 2019, for a lot of spiritual people that have been practicing for a while, the things that they are like saying that their niche is, it's not like a very common thing. Yeah, like Jess 2.0. I think that a lot of our niches that we're kind of finding now is like what is inside of our soul that the earth needs. So there is a lot of that Viking energy coming in. It hasn't been on the planet for a long time. Like even in Iceland, they have their first like Viking or like Viking church or something like that, So that there are none on the planet. As far as that's like the first one is in Iceland, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. So it shows that the earth through the ascension process is understanding. Great. I'm talking about our niches and how like me, you, and Danielle, because somebody asked about that today in class. Great. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the Viking church and things like that. So honestly too, see, this is the other thing that I wanted to talk about. This is like, should I talk about this? I really don't want to talk about it right now. It has to do with horror movies and stuff like that. I think that's going to be for a whole nother video. Anyways, something that happened to me in a dream that I feel like I need to share, but I need to have the right wording for it, because I don't want to like freak people out. But anyways, not that like I don't care about freaking. I just don't want to put any negative energy out there about the topic. Great, my nose is itchy. Okay. All right, so finding your niche, right? So yeah, that's what's happening in the spiritual community right now, is we're finding our niche in all these little things that really aren't there yet. Like I feel like the niche before in the spiritual community was more of like, I'm an angel card reader, I'm an astrologer, I'm a healer, I do sound baths. And now it's getting way more in depth. Now it's like, I work with galactic energy. I'm a witch. Like that's, Viking energy, like runes, things like that. Earth energy. I'm teaching people about the downloads coming in for the earth, or the upgrades coming in on earth. It's becoming way more specific, which is good, because it's allowing us as spiritual teachers to get into the nitty gritty of what's going on spiritually, instead of being like, this is energy work and then this is all the elements in it. It's like, okay, I want to focus on this type of work and go dive deep within that. And when you really find your niche, it's like you feel at home. And that's like how I feel like me, Jess, and Danielle feel. Like, this is my home. Well, this is my home. This is Danielle's home. This is Jess's home. You also become very, like, you don't allow anything to get in the way of your home energetically. So even when we went to Salem, there's a store that I think is amazing. And Jess and Danielle like it way more than me because it has all this earthy energy. And I love the store. I think it's great. But I can't spend too much time in it because the energy is so earthy and it doesn't vibe with my galacticness. But what they're doing in that store is amazing for people that are super into that. To me, with my like galactic mind, the energy is like too chaotic for me. So when you like, in respect to my niche and the energy that I work with, I got what I needed to get in the store and then I moved on. You know, I think when a lot of people are first practicing, and this happens a lot, is like you're taking from a whole bunch of different things and you're kind of all over the place. And then as your practice evolves, you're like, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that anymore. That doesn't serve me. Some things you associate with, yeah, that's not good energy. Or most of the time you're like, that's just not for me. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of experience within that to find what it is that you should be like teaching, or the healing modalities that you should work with. Even like with Reiki with me, I'm kind of like, I don't even want to teach Reiki anymore. I don't want to do it. Like, I am a Reiki. Like, I feel like I just am Reiki all the time. Like, I don't need to turn Reiki on. Like, I've become the Reiki. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there. I don't want to teach it. There's, you know, other people teaching Reiki. Like, I just don't want to do it. And like now I can even feel with IET. I'm like, IET is great. I think it's wonderful. But like, I'm so into this galactic energy and I feel like I really need to be a teacher in that, that like IET might be getting in the way a little bit of me going even further into the galactic energy. So the focus feels good. And that's the thing, how you know how you really found your niche is you feel at home. And like I said, some things are temporary. It's not a forever thing. But when I first started, when I first began awakening, it was through ET energy. And then it came kind of full circle, God, like over 15 years later, here I am back at that. Like, no, this is where I need to be. So yeah, like finding your niche in this work takes time. It's not something that you're going to find overnight. It's definitely something that you need to develop. It's definitely like you need to learn from other people as well. So like one of the things that people will do that I see, hey Marie, hey Michelle, hello to whoever joined in that I didn't say hi to, is that some people will be like, I already know that, and then they won't take the classes, and your soul will like kind of be called to the class, and it's just so you can see how that teacher teaches and connect with a different perspective of what you think that you already know. So you really have to listen to that calling and where you're drawn. And another thing too that I notice with people in this community is they kind of just will go where their friends are going, and that doesn't always work either. Like I think the dynamic between me, Jess, and Danielle works so well because when we practice ceremony together, we're actually bringing different elements to the table, and it makes our connection a lot stronger. So if like I was forcing myself to work with runes because Jess was working with runes, it would actually weaken the connection that we have. It wouldn't work as well. So like with me bringing in the galactic energy, which is like that, like the sky energy, and then Jess and Danielle doing more of the earthy stuff, it balances everything out. And there's different elements to those practices as well. But Yeah, it's like right now in the times that we're at in your spiritual practice, it really is about, finding your niche. And your niche may not be something that's popular. It may not make a lot of sense to other practitioners, um, especially practitioners that don't understand the growth and expansion, because there also are a lot of people that are in the spiritual community that I noticed that they don't grow, like they just kind of stay in one place. And that has to do with healing work and stuff like that, but it's also like going into the unknown and going to places that you may feel a little afraid of and scared of, but when you get there, it's actually a happy place. And it's funny too, because when we went to Salem like last week. Yeah, it was last weekend. I was like having these flashbacks of when I used to like walk in all these stores before I really knew what anything was. And I don't know, I just remember the feeling of loving being in the stores and like always wanting to be in that magical energy. And I just like to go in the stores because they were so magical. And now, like, even because Danielle took IAT and we were discussing this with the person that was there. And um, we were kind of like, yeah, when you begin practicing magic, you realize that you become the magic as well. So, like, walking in the stores in Salem isn't as. It's cool and it's exciting and you love the energy there, but you realize that you carry that energy with you all the time when you begin practicing. It's like you don't have to go and look for the magic when you first started. You become the magic. You are the magic, and you see the magic in everything all around you every day. So, I don't know if some people are like, what the fuck is she talking about? Or this makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure there's a mix of a little bit of both. Um, because I don't know, it's just like those things like, yeah, keep trying to find your niche. Yeah, people are laughing at me. I'm tired. I taught IET all day. And then we decorated for Halloween. That was fun. So, um, yeah. Hang on. Oh, I thought that was Adam texting me talking about magic, and it's actually Ashley Horan. That makes sense. I'm like, why is Adam talking to me about magic? So, yeah, it's a weird thing. It's not an easy thing either, because sometimes you'll think this is it, like this is my thing, and then you're like, no, that's not my thing. I don't really fit. Like, the soul connection is so deep that you just embody that. Like, when I did my Ascension Warriors class, the intro class, I didn't have to look in a book. You know what I mean? Like, all the information that I received for the intro for Ascension Warriors class was in me. And I just wrote it all out and then I taught it. And like, that's not to say that looking in books is bad, but that's how you know when you're truly connected to something, when it just all comes out. And from what I remember with Danielle in The Heart of the Witch, I know that a lot of it with her is all from like what she learned and then revamping it and doing it all herself. Like, I feel like I remember her saying when she was looking at things online, it didn't resonate with her and she had to do it all from here. And that's how you know when that's your niche, because you don't have to go and find the information. You have the information within you, and that is a true soul connection. So, yeah, and even when I did my ETs 101, it was just like, yeah, this is it. Like these energies and these energies. And so, um yeah. And like, even too, like, say that you find your niche and you're like researching in books, you can like take that information and then create your own out of it. It's like you're opening up an energy field that you already know. I don't know if I'm making sense again. But yeah, I think I'm like just channeling all of this. So yeah, that's finding your niche. It's not an easy process and it takes time, and everyone has something that their soul is supposed to teach, especially if you feel called to teaching spiritually and in the community or whatever. You have something in you that is innate knowing that your soul came down with and is like, this is what I am here to teach. This is what I am here to bring to the planet. So just kind of go with it and experiment and see where it leads you. Like, don't try to figure out exactly where you should be, because when you're like trying to do that too hard, you're actually probably going to miss the opportunities for you to learn what feels right for you. So, yeah. I guess that's my message for tonight. I feel like I'm not all the way here. So, I'm wearing a blanket too because it's cold. Fall is coming. We already decorated for Halloween at the shop. And Adam was like, "Why are you guys decorating? It's August." And I'm like, "No, it's Halloween time." So, yeah, we already decorated the shop halfway. We're like, "Oh, we'll decorate halfway and then add more as the months go on." But yeah, I just had to do it because I love Halloween. It's the best time of the year. Thank you, Colleen. Good. April said I make perfect sense. That's great. Yes, I was journaling yesterday and today and was reading something almost the same from a well-known Norse shaman. Yeah. And another thing too is when you find your niche, it doesn't mean that you don't dabble in other things either. It just means your niche is your base. Like, that's your home base. That's what you always go back to. So it doesn't mean that I can't work with runes, because honestly, there's certain runes that I work with. There's other runes that I have no idea. But I will connect with the runes for some of my galactic spells or ceremony that I do. So yeah, there is a way that you can mix and match the energies and work with them. But there's always going to be a home base to go to. And that's when your practice starts becoming more solid. And that's when you start becoming more confident in who you are as a practitioner. And like I said, it takes time. So don't rush it. Just know that you're working towards it and you'll feel it when you're ready to, when you know. And it takes a lot of learning. Like, it takes you going to all different teachers. It takes experience. I mean, that's how you're going to learn. So I think a lot of people nowadays just don't have patience and they want to like figure everything out in one day, and it doesn't work like that. It takes time. So that's my message for today. Maybe I'll talk about the weird thing tomorrow. I don't know. I got to figure out the way to word this because it was kind of creepy and weird. And it was about horror movies and the energy in horror movies and the energy in the astral plane coming in through these horror movies. And I'm like, ugh, do I really want to talk about this? So if you want to hear me talk about it, talk about the horror movie thing, and that'll motivate me to do a live video tomorrow talking about the energies coming in through these movies. It's kind of creepy, but I feel like people need to know about it. But yeah, it's kind of creepy. So, all right. I gotta go to bed. I gotta get more than like 6 hours of sleep because that hasn't been happening in the last few days. Talk about the horror movie thing. Yeah, talk about the horror movie thing. I'll talk about the horror movie thing. And now we're curious. So yes, please do talk about it. I say go for it. Okay. It's about it. Well, of course. Marie, you like horror movies, don't you? I see you posting about them. Yeah, I had a creepy dream about it, and it didn't feel like a dream. It was definitely a message, and I wrote it down. So, all right, fine. I'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Anyways, all right, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good night. Happy Monday to you all. And, yeah, good night, everyone. Bye.